Welcome to Impact with AI. Who are the true AI pioneers? Is it researchers who came up with the transformer model? Are the pioneers the leaders at the frontier AI companies? Or are there other communities of people that have been pioneering in AI in a practical way that you might not think of? I'm excited to dive into another conversation with an entrepreneur using artificial intelligence and machine learning technology to support the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Today, I'll talk with Karthik Mahadevan, a CEO of Envision, about his business and how he's supporting SDG 10, reducing inequality. Karthik, welcome to the conversation. Thanks for joining us. How are you and Envision generating impact?
Hi, Brandon. Super excited to be here and and to have a chat with you. So at Envision, we build software tools that help people who are blind or have a low vision independently access the visual information around them. It is basically a smartphone application, but also like a smart glasses based application that allows them to take images of things around them, and then we extract what information is in those images and speak it out, right? And this information is basically all kinds of things. It's it is pieces of text. It's a description of your scene around them. It is recognizing faces around them. So anything that is a visual information that is currently inaccessible, we help make it accessible to them. And this has a deep reaching impacts, not just at like a workplace, but also in education, but also in a social co- uh, context as well.
Wow, wow. Well, it sounds like you and the team at Envision are building something that's really having a significant impact for this community. And I want to talk about the community that you're engaging with for a little bit here. In the intro, I mentioned, who are the real AI pioneers? And the fact of the matter is, members of the disabled community around the world have not only been using artificial intelligence, but relying on artificial intelligence and machine learning to just get around day to day for many years and using it in a way that is far beyond most broader consumer applications. So can you talk a little bit about the community and their experience with AI and how that's impacted the work that you're doing with Envision?
Yeah, so there's a lot of technology that were originally, sort of like built for, people who are like blind or have a low vision, that eventually sort of, saw adoption amongst amongst like a wider, group, right? So
Hmm.
for example, something like audio, like books, actually audiobooks were invented to help people who are blind understand, and read books. And then, it now has a wide, adoption amongst everybody who enjoys reading an audiobook. It is a similar with AI technology as well. For example, the technology to read text, right? It's called OCR, or optical character recognition.
Hmm.
It was originally developed to help a blind person read a piece of text or a book, or a document. And that is a technology that has evolved now, and we like use a recognition of your text as an AI in so many applications that we speak of today. So this is a group that has been sort of using like a lot of these tools. Envision has been building these kind of AI tools for 8 years now. So yeah, AI actually has a significant impact for this group, because it doesn't, like the technology, it doesn't need to be 100% accurate for it to be helpful to them already, right?
Hmm.
So even when the accuracy is not super high, even offering them a little more information than what they currently have access to, that itself, has been a significant step. So yeah, it's been, fun watching the evolution of this technology from the lens of assistive technology.
Yeah, yeah. So these are some of the AI pioneers around the world, and probably not a group of people that would come to mind when you ask the question, who are the AI pioneers? But really, members of the disabled community have been not only using the technology, but participating in building the technology and really proving its value long before, again, some of these broader consumer applications that we've seen over the past few years. Okay, Karthik, now let's talk a little bit about United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 10, reduced inequalities. How do you think about driving impact, and how are you impacting this goal?
Yeah. So I think the way we look at it is at two levels. I think at like a very fundamental a level, it's about accessing information, right? And we believe
Hmm.
everybody should have access to the same information with the same amount of effort to access that information.
Hmm.
This could be pretty much any information. For example, if you walk into a train station and you want to know, hey, is like a train that you want to jump on is on time, you can simply look up at a display and you have that information available to you instantly, right? But for a
Hmm.
blind person, he cannot look up because it's a visual information, so they have to either ask for help or they need to look it up through some other source. So that's where we see there is an inequality in the process, where the same information and access to that information is not the same for everyone. So that's what Envision is just trying to bridge on a fundamental like level, where we want to even people who are blind or have low vision to have access to that information just as quickly as possible, right? So with Envision glasses, they can also just take a look at the same, like visual board, and they can simply ask our AI, "Hey, what time is my train to Amsterdam?" And it will scan the board and come back to them with an answer. That's the
Yeah.
kind of stuff that Envision is actually able to enable. But if you take it a level above that, access to information also translates to access to opportunities, right?
Hmm.
Especially when you think of an education environment, right? Like when a blind
Yep.
person has to go to a school or a university, a lot of information, even in that environment, happens to be in a visual form, right?
Right.
Whether it is a sign on a notice board or whether it's assignments being handed out, whether it is a presentation that like a teacher is taking, they're all visual information. And in each of these steps, you're adding inequality by just you're not making those information accessible. So Envision steps in here as well to help reduce that inequality as much as possible, to make sure people have that much access as well. And I think
Hmm.
the place where it has the biggest impact is at a workplace, right? When people who are blind or have low vision, they are the people who are who are significantly impacted with unemployment because of the lack of opportunities in the workplace for somebody who is blind or has a low vision.
Hmm.
And that's mainly coming from the fact that a lot of these jobs are designed to be a visual, like a lot of these office spaces are designed to be a visual information, right? If you need to
Right.
look for like a meeting room in a big office, like how will you do it without any sort of a visual cue for you?
Hmm.
Or if you're sitting in a presentation at your office, like there are slides on there, but you don't know how to like read those slides, or you've been emailed a PDF, and now you have to figure out how are you going to like read that PDF. So all of these are your obstacles that actually cause inequality for somebody to be able to do their work in a productive way, and that's where Envision steps into sort of that bridge this gap as much as possible.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Both of the ways that you're looking at driving impact when it comes to SDG 10. And Karthik, I know you know this, so many of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals are off track or behind. COVID-19 has had a lot to do with some of them being off track, but this is one of those goals that I think has the potential to be reached when we look at a lot of the targets, and certainly tools like Envision are part of it. And I love what to the second piece that you looked at, kind of the second order effects of access. So not just access to the technology or access to the information, but access to really help everyone reach their full potential. Because that I think ultimately is what's going to drive progress for the world. Is not just making sure that people have access to the internet just so that people can, search on Google or whatever. It's making sure that people have access to technology and to these tools so that they can study, so that they can get a job, so that they can produce in the economy, so they can contribute to GDP. And again, so that individuals can reach their full potential, communities can reach their full potential, and ultimately so that countries and of course our global environment can reach its full potential. So this is definitely supporting SDG 10. Karthik, let's talk a little bit more about Envision and the technology that you've developed. How exactly are you using artificial intelligence to drive impact with Envision?
Yeah. So I think your AI has been a core of Envision ever since we started.
Mm-hmm.
So we started out in 2018, and the kind of AI we had then is pretty, I would say, archaic by the standards of AI that we have today, like with like Chat GPTs and like Claude and Perplexities that we have out today.
Mm-hmm.
But we started out with basically using this tool to solve like a user a need, right? It was not a technology push. We sort of spent time with our users and understood exactly what kind of information are they looking to have access to, and then we found the best technology to fit that need. So
Mm-hmm.
the AI that we started out with 2018 was pretty simplistic. It could do discrete functions. For example, it could you read a piece of text. So if you have a document, you take a picture of the document, it will go ahead and read exactly what's in the document for you. Or if it had something called object detection, right, where you could look for an object in room, so you can be like, hey, can you help me look for keys, and then just scan around with your phone. It will sort of look for keys within that frame and come back to you with as and when it has found keys. So that's how we started out with AI. But with the
Mm-hmm.
recent developments in a large language like models and the kind of like processors that we have access to today, we've been able to evolve that AI now into being a lot more of an assistant. Right. So just to give you a point of comparison, in 2018, if a blind person wants to know how much is a cappuccino as he's holding a menu in a restaurant, he will need to open up his phone, unlock it, take a picture
Mm-hmm.
of it with the of the menu. Then it will do a processing of the text. It will spit out all the text, and you scroll down through the whole menu until you get to cappuccino, and then you figure out what is the price of it. So this whole process would take about 10 to 15 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
But with the technology that we have now, it's purely a conversational assistant. So you can simply hold up your phone and be like, hey, how much is the cappuccino? And then the AI automatically understands the intent behind a question. It will
Mm-hmm.
snap a picture, it will do the OCR on it, it will then look for the price of the cappuccino and simply speak it out to you. And all of this now
Mm-hmm.
happens in under 2 seconds. So that's the kind of big leaps that we've been able to make, where now if somebody's trying to look for information, it can go down from 15 to like 2 seconds in the case of like a menu. But if you think of a bit more of a complex document that somebody at like work has to process, we've been able to decrease your tasks that used to take people earlier 10 to 15 minutes. Also, you're down to a couple of your minutes now. So that's where we can actually see the real impact of AI and a quantifiable impact in the productivity of people at work.
Awesome. And those seconds, so reducing it from, 15 seconds to 2 seconds, it may not feel like a lot as we're having a conversation, but I'm sure in real life, those moments, they add up and they take an experience from being functional to now being fairly seamless. 'Cause, yeah. So
Yeah.
that kind of application and being able to develop something that builds with artificial intelligence technology as the AI technology has improved over time is really cool as well. Okay, Karthik. Here's the big question that I'm asking everyone I have a conversation with. you know that some of the SDGs are off track. Last year, Doreen Bogdan Martin, the ITU Secretary General, the International Telecom Union Secretary General, said that it's her hope that AI can save the SDGs because so many of them are behind. So, what do you think? Do you think artificial intelligence and machine learning technology can rescue the Sustainable Development Goals and get them on track?
Um, I think it definitely will have a big impact. It's very hard to sort of extrapolate and predict how much will it be able to actually
Mm-hmm.
improve the SDG, because I think technology is a component of it, and this technology that we have now in the form of artificial intelligence is really, good at solving very complex world problems. So I think it definitely will have a significant positive impact. I think what would be need to see is that if the other factors are able to just support it as well, right? Because it's also
Mm-hmm.
about the human factors involved, about the geopolitical factors involved, and everything. But I feel
Yep.
that technology will definitely have a strong, a positive impact with the emergence of AI as compared to everything else. And I really hope, at least speaking from this reducing inequalities way, I think it can be strong enough to swing the pendulum the other way. Right? That's what like we are trying to sort of push for, where we are
Mm-hmm.
not just trying to push these people to reach equality, but we want to make this technology so good that it becomes superior, right? So sort of this might be a controversial statement, but to uh, you know, but flip the inequality, right, the other way around. To give
Mm-hmm.
you an example of it, we have a user in Japan who sort of had this a data entry a job where he just has to scan a document, look for specific data in that, and enter that into an Excel sheet. And that
Mm-hmm.
was a job that used to take him 15 to 20 minutes per document earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But with this latest developments of Envision, where he has it on a smart glass, he just takes a picture, looks for the data, and just enters it. His job
Mm-hmm.
that used to take him 15 to 20 seconds now is down to 5 seconds, right?
Wow.
And that is faster than any of his or her sighted colleagues can do. So now, with having this technology of these smart glasses on him, he's now able to do a job faster than a sighted your teammate of like his is able to do. So I think that's the
Wow.
kind of technological impact we're talking about, where it sort of like flips the inequality the other way, but all
Mm-hmm.
towards the greater good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's incredible. So being able to see members of the blind community not as a liability or not even as on par with sighted colleagues, but seeing them as superheroes that have this superpower now, powered by Envision and artificial intelligence. Really, really incredible to think about the positive potential there, not just for these individuals that have access to the technology, but as we think about productivity and as we think about being able to reach our full potential as a world moving forward. So really, really cool
Yeah.
to flip that on its head, like you said, Karthik. Okay, man. Well, thanks again for joining us for this conversation today. How can people get in contact with you and Envision? How can they support the work that you're doing?
Sure. I think a best way would be to go to our website,
Hmm.
that is letsenvision.com. That's LETSENVISION.com. And all the information about all the work we do is up on there.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for joining us for another episode of Impact with AI. I'm your host, Brandon Andrews. If you'd like to see more of these conversations, visit impactwithai.media or subscribe to our channel on YouTube. We'll see you next time.